betrayed.
Run! That was the only word in his head. The royal guard ran barefoot across the palace courtyard, blood staining the dust beneath him. Behind him, shouts, drums, still. Seize him! Seize him! The gates slammed shut. Too late, they surrounded him, spears raised. He didn't fight, didn't beg, only lifted his head and looked towards the palace balcony where she stood. Queen Karashika, still, silent, watching like none of this surprised her at all. And that was the moment the kingdom knew this was not just treason. This was something deeper, something chosen. The king didn't collapse in one day. He faded like fire that refused to die, but refused to burn. At first, it was small, a cough, a missed meal, a tired gaze. Then it became worse. Food rejected his body. Water tasted like ash. His strength gradually disappeared. All the healers said one word: poison. But no one understood how, because no one touched the king except two people, Queen Karashika and the guard. Queen Karashika was not soft. She was the kind of woman who didn't need to raise her voice to be heard. Dark skin that carried light like fire at night. Eyes that did not ask for attention but commanded it. Men respected her. Women studied her. But no one truly knew her except maybe the guard. He stood too close sometimes, looked too long, and when she passed, his eyes did not drop. And that was the first mistake, because in a palace built on silence, eye contact is confession. It started with nothing, a pause too long, a hand brushed against another and not moving away, a quiet breath shared in a narrow corridor. Then came that night. The rain fell heavy on the palace roof. The torches dimmed, and in the queen's chamber, he stood behind her, close, too close. "You should not be here," she said, but she didn't turn. "You did not send me away," he replied. Silence fell. Then, slowly, she turned, not like a queen, like a woman. And for a moment, the crown did not matter. Power did not matter. Only heat, only tension, only the dangerous pull of something they both knew could destroy them. And still, they did not stop. But there was one thing they didn't know. The king was not always asleep. Sometimes he listened. Sometimes he watched. Through half-closed eyes, through stillness, through a body that looked weak but not entirely broken, because long before the illness, suspicion had already entered his heart. And once suspicion enters a king's heart, it does not live quietly. The poison was real, but it was never meant to kill him, only to convince everyone else that it could each day. The king took it himself, measured, controlled, turning himself into a dying man to reveal the truth around him. Would Queen Karashika stay loyal? Would his guard remain honorable? Or would desire outweigh duty? So he waited and watched until that night answered everything. No guards, no servants, only silence. The king laid still, breathing slowly, listening. Footsteps, soft, careful. Queen Karashika, she moved like someone who had done this before. Not afraid, not hesitant, certain. The king followed, quiet, weak but determined, and what he saw did not shock him. It confirmed him. The guard's hands on her waist, her breath unsteady, their bodies close enough to forget the world around that room. This was not an accident, not temptation, not a mistake. This was clearly a choice, repeated, refined, real. And in that moment, something inside the king died, not his body, his mercy.
Betrayed.
Morning came like judgment. The guard was dragged into the country yard, chained, bruised, but calm, too calm. The queen stood before the throne, unshaken. Then the king walked in, stronger, alive in a way that made people uneasy. Then he spoke. No more lies. Gasp filled the air. I know what you have done. Then the charges began to fall like thunder. Treason, adultery, attempted murder. The crowd erupted. The guard was sentenced. Execution at sunset. The drums began, slow, heavy. The guard was forced on his knees, but he didn't resist. He didn't plead. He only looked at Queen Karashika and smiled, not with regret, but with acceptance. And Queen Karashika still did not cry. Stop! The king's voice cut through the air. The executioner froze. Silence fell. I was never a dying king, the king said. Shock filled the air. I poisoned myself to reveal betrayal. Now murmurs began to spread. Truth landed like fire. The king then turned to Queen Karashika. You chose him over your king. And finally she spoke. No, she said. I chose truth over a man who turned love into a test. Silence filled the air, heavy, uncomfortable, because suddenly the king was not just a victim, he was something else. The guard was taken away. Queen Karashika remained. The king sat alone. 3 people, 3 choices, 3 betrayals, and somewhere beyond the palace walls, something unseen listened, because in every act of desire, in every test of loyalty, in every love that becomes a weapon, something feeds. Tell me, when love is tested like a trap and loyalty forced like obedience, who truly betrays first? The one who broke the vow, or the one who made love a game and made every finger point to one figure and with their lips whispering, Karashika.